We continue to keep our eyes on the presidential race tonight, but Washington has a massive race of its own for governor.
That's right. Washington State's going to have a new governor filling the spot of Jay Inslee, who served as governor since 2013. Democratic Attorney General Bob Ferguson takes on former Congressman Dave Reichert. The last time Washington had a Republican governor was way back in 1985. And right now you see the results, 57% of the electorate reporting right now. Those votes have been counted. Bob Ferguson with a lead at 57 to 43%.
And we have reporter teams at both the Democratic and Republican watch parties. We'll be checking in on both of those parties throughout the night as the results roll in. Right now, let's take a look at our state's U.S. Senate race. The Associated Press has already called this for Senator Maria Cantwell defeating Dr. Raul Garcia. It is early on, but she has taken a commanding lead of 61%. She will get a 7th term.
And in Congressional District 1, Congresswoman Susan DelBene running against Jeb Brewer. Right now you see DelBene with a very healthy lead with just over half the ballots counted. 64 to 36% in Congressional District 1.
Now let's move to Congressional District 2. Incumbent Democrat Rick Larsen looks like he will hold on to the seat that he has had since 2001.
And in District 3, take a look at the numbers here. Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez running against Republican Joe Kent, backed by Donald Trump. Right now you see Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez with some new flux of numbers in 52 to 48%.
And in District 4, 2 Republicans face off. Dan Newhouse trying to keep the seat that he has held since 2015 after voting for Trump's second impeachment. Now up by just 4% over Trump-endorsed Jared Sessler.
District 5, we have 2 new candidates this year. Democrat Carmela Conroy running against Republican Michael Baumgartner. You see right now, Michael Baumgartner with 60% reporting leads 59% to 41%.
Okay, District 6, 2 new candidates here. Democrat Emily Randall running against Drew McEwen. She has the lead there. And in District 7, a commanding lead by Pramila Jayapal. She will take that as well.
In District 8, Congresswoman Kim Schreier facing Carmen Goers right now with a 10-point percentage lead.
And in District 9, Washington's longest-serving member of Congress, Democrat Adam Smith, with a commanding lead there as well.
And in District 10, take a look. Marilyn Strickland taking on Republican Don Hewitt. The incumbent leads 58 to 42%.
Now, we will continue to follow all of these races and so much more.
Yeah, there's a lot going on tonight. KIRO 7 will be tracking it all live for you while you stick with us, and we'll be back on the air in just a few seconds.
Stay connected. Get the free KIRO 7 News app.
Closing in on a winner.
We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted.
I would say this was the best campaign.
We wait tonight for swing states to get the results right for our nation's president.
Critical races in our state decided.
The people of Washington State chose a pragmatic and progressive vision for our future.
Protesters doing damage before the final results are in.
Decisions from the White House to money in your community right now on KIRO 7 tonight.
Well, tonight is still a waiting game. All the polls are closed, but critical states are still tallying up the ballots in what is a tight race for president. Thank you for joining us. I'm Monique Minglabin.
And I'm Gary Horker. If you've been watching the network, CBS National Broadcast, you've seen the tightening race.
Yeah, here is the landscape. Right now, 7 swing states were identified before tonight. Just 2 have been called at this point, both for Donald Trump. Many of the remainders are leaning in his direction. We'll go in depth on those numbers in just a few minutes.
We have got a massive team out here spread out in our state all the way to the East Coast, keeping track of numbers and reaction. And as more races are decided tonight, you're going to see all of them through the next hour.
But let's begin with one of our biggest local races. We will have a new governor for the first time in 12 years.
KIRO 7's Deborah Horn is live at the Democratic Party Watch right now. And Deborah, Democrats celebrating big wins in our state.
Oh boy, they really are. After all, They won the very biggest of the contests. That is the governor's race, and they are leading big even in the races that have not yet been decided. So, yes, there was plenty for state Democrats to cheer. The party is poised to win in all 9 of the statewide offices, the first time in half a century. In celebrating his victory, Bob Ferguson, who is the current Attorney General, said he will be governor for all.
Good evening, I'm Sabir Rayford in the Fox 13 newsroom. We're tracking local election results here in Washington state with polls closing just under a half an hour ago. We begin with the race for our state's next governor between Democratic nominee Bob Ferguson and Republican nominee Dave Reichert, with Ferguson taking about 57% of the vote right now and Reichert 43%, with 57% of the estimated votes counted. The next race we're tracking could have an impact on the balance of power in the U.S. House of Representatives, where all 435 House seats are up for election. We're taking a live look at Clark County, part of Washington's 3rd district. In that district, Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez is the incumbent. Her challenger is Republican Joe Kent, in what many call a swing district. Gluesenkamp-Perez is at 52%, with Kent at 48% reporting. Now to the race for the Senate. Democratic incumbent Maria Cantwell and Republican Raul Garcia. Cantwell taking 61% of that vote. On this year's ballot, there are also 4 statewide initiatives. The group Let's Go Washington are behind all of them. Let's begin with I-2066. Now, this is regarding natural gas and electrification. Remember, a yes vote on these measures would repeal certain laws already in place, while a no vote would keep them around. And right now, it's very tight, but 50.5% of the vote is yes. And Initiative 2109 regards a tax on capital gains of over $250,000 annually. That is looking like a no at 64%. I-2117 regards carbon tax credit trading, and right now that is also looking like a no at 63%. with 52% of the estimated votes and counting. And Initiative 2124 concerns the state's long-term care insurance, also known as the Washington Cares Fund. A yes on this initiative would allow employees to opt out of the program, and right now that is looking at no at 56%. In the race for Attorney General, Democrat Nick Brown is running against Republican Pete Serrano, and Nick Brown is right now at 57%, ahead of Serrano's 43%. Another statewide race we are keeping tabs on is the race for Superintendent of Education. Incumbent Chris Rakedahl is up against challenger David Olson. Rakedahl reporting 55%, with 50% of the estimated votes counted. And here's a look at the race to be the next Commissioner of Public Lands. Now, this one between Democrat Dave Upthegrove and Republican Jamie Herrera. Butler Upthegrove with 54%. Now, just 52% of the vote has been counted at this point. And earlier tonight, Seattle police responded to protests. We're taking a live look at the Capitol Hill neighborhood where they took place. SPD posting photos on Twitter of the graffiti left behind that you just saw there. And that graffiti was left behind by those protesters. And last check, 5 people were arrested and the group has been broken up. There are a ton of other races with early results starting to come in. You can find all of our local race results on fox13seattle.com. Now, this QR code will take you directly to that election page on our website. We're also streaming local results right now on Fox 13 Plus and the free Fox Local Connected TV app. For now, here's more national election coverage.
It is election night across Washington, and we are watching the races for you. The governor's race, the House seats, the congressional seats across the country, and all of the initiatives that you have been voting for on the ballot. So you've seen the ads. You probably received text messages as well. Initiative 2117, one of the more controversial measures on your ballot, asking voters to repeal Washington's Climate Commitment Act. Supporters blaming that act for higher gas prices, while opponents say that it will cut critical funding for environmental and transit programs. So far tonight, about 38% of voters are saying yes, 62% are saying that they are rejecting this initiative. King 5's Jim Nelson's been keeping an eye on this, and he joins us live. Jim.
We're moving forward on clean energy.
Yeah, Joyce, we are at the Seattle Convention Center, which is also where the state Democrats are holding various watch parties. Of course, a lot of attention on the governor's race, but in this particular room, this is the no on 2117 group. Governor Jay Inslee just spoke a few minutes ago. He was the first speaker after the numbers were read to the crowd here. He called this a, quote, thrashing. Obviously, they are in a very celebratory mood based on the numbers that you just went over, Joyce. And so they're happy. They were nervous coming into the night, although optimistic. That was one of the words they used, that they were a little nervous about how things would shake out. Obviously, with initiatives, it can be a little unpredictable. The big thing, of course, for them was getting the message across that what a no vote meant. And that, of course, means rejecting the initiative that would have repealed the Climate Commitment Act. Very happy, very celebratory, and that's the story here from the Seattle Convention Center. Joyce?
Jim, thanks so much. Of course, our King 5 political analysts, Rob McKenna and Gary Locke, have been here all night. We have 1 minute for each of you. I want to get your quick take on the governor's race with Ferguson holding the lead at this point. I'll start with you, Rob.
Well, it's a big lead. It's not likely to change. It might narrow, but it looks like he's going to be the next governor. He ran a strong campaign with a lot of money against someone who's credible, as Gary also acknowledged, and just didn't raise as much money in a state that's gone bluer and bluer.
You have 20 seconds.
No surprise. All the ads were attacking Reichert, calling him extreme, connecting him with Donald Trump, and we're a strongly Democratic state now.
Thanks to both of you, and you're going to stick with us through the night. We have a lot more election coverage coming your way. Join us at 9 o'clock on Kong for a reaction from all across Western Washington to tonight's results, and more reaction from our analysts as well. Our team coverage continues at 11. The ballots are being counted, and the first round of election results are in.
Voters here in Washington really want to have their voices heard.
Our state is picking a new governor.
Thank you so much, everybody. Let's go get them.
We fought a tough battle. It's not over yet. While the nation picks a new president.
I feel very confident.
This could be one of the closest races in history.
Tonight, King 5 has full team coverage of the races that impact you.
Well, tonight we are still waiting to learn who will be our next president. Neither candidate has reached 270 electoral votes needed to win yet.
Right now, former President Trump has 246. Vice President Kamala Harris, 194. Many key swing states, including Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, are too close to call. King 5 has projected Harris will win Washington state as expected. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joyce Taylor.
I'm Greg Copeland. Harris is not planning to address supporters tonight. That, according to her campaign, she is expected to speak tomorrow.
Trump is planning to speak soon, in just a few minutes, and we will take him live when he starts talking.
Well, the top local race we are watching tonight is for Washington's next governor. King 5 has called this race for Democrat Bob Ferguson, who has also declared victory. He is leading with 56% of the vote. Republican Dave Reichert with 44%.
We have team coverage tonight with crews at watch parties for both candidates. We begin with King 5's Natalie Swaby at the Seattle Convention Center, where Bob Ferguson spoke tonight. Natalie.
And there was a celebration in this room tonight with Bob Ferguson thanking the thousands of volunteers and supporters who helped make victory possible. Now, Ferguson told the crowd in this room that the campaign won by building a massive grassroots coalition. He says they traveled across the state to all 39 counties and heard people's concerns. He says those conversations will guide him as governor. Tonight, Ferguson said Washington state will make progress on the most critical issues, from housing affordability to public safety and from economic development to the ferries.
Welcome back. The first preliminary results are in.
And the Associated Press has called the race for governor, declaring Democrat Bob Ferguson the winner. You can see here the results coming in tonight with 59% reporting. Bob Ferguson at 57%, Republican Dave Reichert at 43%.
In the race for lieutenant governor, Democrat incumbent Denny Heck is going up against Republican Dan Matthews. Again, the incumbent ahead of the competitor Dan Matthews. Denny Heck with 57%, Dan Matthews with 43%.
We're also tracking some of the statewide initiatives. Initiative 2066 would repeal or prohibit certain laws and regulations that discourage natural gas use. You can see here 51% yes, 49% no. We'll have more on these races throughout the night. Stay with us right here on KOMO News and the KOMO News website for the very latest.
Happening now, election night 2024. The will of the American people is beginning to take shape. As ballots continue to be counted, who will be the next president of the United States remains up in the air.
And let's all remember 4 years ago, it took a while. Patience.
Tonight, we break down the pathways to victory for each candidate.
A little bit uneasy, but seeing some numbers okay.
Washington State will soon have a new governor.
Thanks to your doorbelling, to your donations, to your phone banking, to your hard work, I'll be serving as your next governor.
We are not going to concede this race until the last vote is counted, period.
Tonight, we have full analysis on all the major races. A special edition of KOMO News starts now. And we begin tonight with breaking news. We're looking live right now in West Palm Beach, Florida, where former President Trump is expected to come out at any minute now and address his crowd there.
He's widely expected to declare victory in the 2024 presidential race. These are the electoral numbers according to the Associated Press. It takes 270 electoral votes to win the White House, and currently former President Trump is ahead of Vice President Harris.
Back out live to Florida, you can see here a large room full of his supporters tonight. We will continue to monitor this and bring you the very latest in his comments live as soon as they happen. Meantime, happening now, millions and millions of ballots are being counted here and around the country as the future of our state and nation beginning to come into the light. No matter who comes out on top tonight, America is on the verge of history.
Throughout this program, we'll have election results running at the bottom of your screen. Let's get straight to some of the major races that we are tracking tonight. The governor's race, the Associated Press calling the race for Attorney General Bob Ferguson ahead of Dave Reichert, 56% to 44%.
And tonight we have crews fanned out across Washington State to bring you comprehensive election coverage. We begin with KOMO senior reporter Chris Daniels, who's live with the Ferguson camp. Chris, how is the atmosphere there tonight?
Well, Preston, I think you can see behind me, it is quiet. Everybody has cleared out of this room, and that's an indication of what is going on a national level. The room was full earlier, full of Democratic supporters who did see Bob Ferguson come out on a stage and declare victory. He also talked about the potential for another Trump administration. Here's what he had to say.
We are hopeful that Kamala Harris, who I had the privilege of serving with as Attorney General when she was the Attorney General of California, we're optimistic for her campaign. But I want to be very clear to each and every one of you. If that result does not go the way we want, I want to be very clear. There is nobody running for statewide office this year anywhere in the United States who is more prepared to defend your freedoms against that administration than I am.